it's a very different story, una historia muy diferente, from the one that we hear in this country. In this country, we hear if you nationalize, if you socialize, people lose their incentive to work hard.
This campaign has also occurred in Bolivia. Oh, Evo's a socialist. If you have 2 houses, he's going to take one away. If you have 2 or 3 cars, he'll take them away so you just have one. The only thing they haven't said is if you have 2 women, I would take away one of the women, no? We respect private property. Why not? The people who steer this type of argument are corrupt. As presidents, vice presidents, members of parliament, they robbed the money of the people and illegally made their fortunes. This is an ill-made fortune. We're going to convert that. But there are respectable people that worked hard on their own, and that is very respected. Of course, we must respect this. But now there are policies of incentives. The state provides incentives for production. We, for example, are giving credit to produce 4 products: rice, soy, corn, and especially wheat. The credit with 0% interest in addition. When a family has already exceeded their credit, they can pay with their product, not only with money. And now we have started to pay a better price in the market. This is to provide incentive for production. And now if we talk about business, we have to put $200 million for credit to start a business, for productive business, not for politics. There was a group called business people that were political, and they were not productive. So this is different. I do not feel good with that. I had many disagreements because when I hear of business, I think of businessmen who have a lot of money. They have an abundance of money. But there are businessmen who just come and ask for a lot of credit. This is a problem. They have a bunch of money. But whatever is the mechanism, the most important thing is that to make the situation better for the poor people and to look for a certain equality. And another policy that we have implemented here is the industrial material. First, the president of Bolivia, the ex-presidents, earned almost 40,000 Bolivianos. How much would that be in dollars? Those days it was like $5,000. I lowered my salary from 40,000 bolivares to 15,000. The ex-presidents had expenses of over $8,000 a month over their reserves. En mi gobierno no hay gastos de representación, no hay gastos reservados, es el único sueldo. Pero además de eso, desde el momento que llega el But on top of that, from the time I took office, we lowered the salary from 40,000 to 15,000, and until now we have not raised the president's salary one bit, nor the salary of the ministers, nor of those in parliament. Para el sector público, que es salud, educación, policía, Fuerzas Armadas de Bolivia y otros sectores. Meanwhile, as we raise salaries little by little for the public sector, education, police, armed forces of Bolivia, and other sectors. First, we raised the salaries in education and health in 2006 3% annually. And then we raised for this year 14% raises in salary for the armed forces and the police. How? I want you to realize that those who earned a lot had their salary drop, and they have not gone up until now. And those who earned very little, little by little, we have raised their salaries. This is the best policy to find equality. This is what's known as community socialism.
In addition, your banking system hasn't suffered in the way that our banking system has. Why?
First, Bolivia is a viable country. Not like the neoliberals used to say about Bolivia, that it wasn't reliable, that it didn't have ability, that it didn't have capacity to pay its loans. In 2006, when I became president, the international reserves of Bolivia were $1,700 million. In January of this year, there was 7,800 million international reserves. The external debt before was $5,000 million. We lowered it to $2,000 million. It's a combination of taxes and agreements with countries like China. Now we will make an agreement for education with Spain. We lowered it to $2,000, but we got my presidency to loan money to guarantee the interaction of one department to another department, paving roads from one country to another country, to neighbors like Argentina, like with Chile, implementing highway projects. More than anything, the interaction between the West and the East, between the highlands and lowlands. We are over almost $3,000 million. The microeconomic politics allow us Bolivians to avoid the financial crisis. There's more credit. Happily, it is a result of an arrangement, our arrangement. Before, the only people who had access to credit were the business people, and they never paid back the money to the state. Now things have changed. They have the right to access the credit and there is money, but it's the small producers, the small businessmen. And from there, we create the Productive Development Bank. It's to encourage production, no? The different items. Another is agricultural credit. But before, credit was only for questions of commerce and service, not a question of production. This is the great difference. It's true that these policies have had an effect. That's why the crisis doesn't affect us so much. Until now, we hope to maintain. It's the big hope. It's all that we can hope for in life. And we are in continuous debate to produce more and to not lack food. When we do not lack food, will be the day we return to the original indigenous culture and of the families. I remember when I was a boy, my mom was the one who went and sold products, or cattle. And the moment that there is enough reserve to eat all year, it was possible to save for the next year. That's great. Yes, this is the big difference.